Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the December public meeting. I'm Linda Muma, a Public Information Officer with CalRecycle. CalRecycle has updated the format of its monthly public meeting to serve the public better with communication that is accessible, inclusive, and plain language as possible, and we welcome your feedback. Before we get started this morning, a quick mention to those who wish to submit questions and comments on an agenda item to please send them to the public comments portal. You can find the portal on the CalRecycle homepage. From the top menu bar, select Get Involved and then Public Meeting. In the next, or the text near the bottom of the page, click Public Comment Portal, and then from the drop-down menu, select the first option, Monthly Public Meeting, to type your name, your email address, subject or agenda item, and then submit your question or comment. And we will address your comments during the public comment period later this morning. Our first agenda item today is the Director's Report. Director Rachel Maki-Wagner joins us now with some important updates. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Linda. Thank you so much for kicking us off this morning. It is a pleasure to be with all of you here today for our final meeting of 2021. And as I was preparing for this meeting yesterday, I was thinking back on what 2021 has encompassed and what we've been able to accomplish this year. And I am so incredibly proud and impressed with the hard work of CalRecycle, despite the ongoing challenges of living through and working through a pandemic. We are continuing to forge ahead on so many of our important mission tasks. And in fighting climate change and pollution, we are doing our part to help the state of California recover stronger, recover better as we move forward. The first thing I really want to highlight is the incredible work that is happening in our debris removal operation. Our wildfire cleanups are well underway for the 2021 wildfire season, and we are on track to finish that work by the end of January. I wanted to share this today because I'm so incredibly proud of this work that CalRecycle is doing to help our communities recover from this devastating wildfire season, and really looking at the importance of our role here in helping California communities recover and become more resilient. And as we move into 2022, that is really a focus for CalRecycle, is making those debris removal operations as quick and efficient as possible, and doing it in a way that really helps each and every community recover stronger and avoid these devastating events in the future. Also, looking back on 2021, it's been a very, very important year for waste reduction, primarily in the area of our organic waste. As we look into 2022, we are 11 days away from taking on this monumental new regulatory statutory obligation for the state of California. And I have had so many wonderful conversations with stakeholders and the media and community members, asking questions about how they can do their part to contribute to the successful implementation of 1383. We look forward in 2022 to continuing those conversations, to working with all of our local government partners, with our community members, with our nonprofits, in building out successful programs, successful infrastructure builds, and really overcoming what we know is a challenging undertaking as we embark on this momentous change to trash, the most momentous since we started recycling in the 1980s. I am so excited to continue our work here and really proud of the work that CalRecycle has done to partner with our local government partners and with our communities. So we look forward to continuing our work with you, and I look forward to continuing these conversations with all of our partners on how do we make California the global leader in organics, recovery, and recycling. Last but not least, for my report, I want to highlight another really important and momentous effort on the part of CalRecycle. As many of you know, we passed legislation several years back to require take-back programs of pharmaceuticals and sharps. Over the last several months, our staff have been reviewing the various stewardship plans that have come in, and we have been having very thoughtful conversations internally about those stewardship plans. I want to highlight the importance of this program for every Californian as we look at product stewardship as a very, very important model for waste reduction in California. Pharmaceuticals and sharp take-back programs need to be a model of what stewardship should look like, and that includes providing adequate and thorough access to every single Californian. So as we continue to work with our partners in the pharmaceutical industry and with our community partners, it is really important that we keep this conversation going to figure out how do we provide the greatest level of access to sharps return and pharmaceutical returns for environmental and public health protection. As I look forward to 2022, I am so incredibly thoughtful about and contemplative about what we've done in 2021 and where we're going in 2022. We have made leaps and bounds strides in all of our programs, but there is still so much work to do. As we finalize our disposal and recycling numbers for 2021, I am heartened by the work that we are doing, but we have so much more work that must be done. Our recycling rate here in California is not where it needs to be. Our goal of 75% needs to be the floor, not the ceiling, and we are currently only at 42% for recycling. It is time for us to double down our efforts, to look at each and every one of our programs, to work with our local partners and our community partners to innovate in recycling, innovate in recovery and reuse, innovate in remanufacturing, and really make California the true example for the nation and the world of what a circular economy can and should be for every single Californian. So thank you so much for joining us today. A very happy holidays and a happy new year to each and every one of you. And I look forward to working with you in 2022. Thanks, Linda, back to you.
Thanks so much, Rachel. And speaking of the state of recycling, CalRecycle expects to finalize its latest state of disposal and recycling report very soon. Policy Director Zoe Heller is here now with some highlights as California prepares to launch new statewide organic waste recycling and surplus food recovery programs. Good morning, Zoe.
Good morning, Linda. Thanks so much. With organic waste making up half of what we landfill each year, we expect SB 1383 implementation to have a significant impact on California's recycling rate moving forward. In 2020, Californians generated about 77.4 million tons of waste materials. 44.9 million tons went to disposal and disposal-related activities, a roughly 4 million ton reduction from 2019. That left us with a 42% recycling rate for 2020. That's up from 37% in 2019, but as Director Wagner stated, that's still well short of California's 75% recycling goal. Exports of recyclable commodities declined 1.2 million tons in 2020, but at 13.2 million tons exported, countries overseas remain our top destination for California's recycling. To achieve our waste and climate goals, the state must work alongside local and private partners to make sure the products California produces and uses can be efficiently collected and remanufactured into new products right here in our state. In 2020, jurisdictions could no longer count green waste used for landfill cover as diversion, per AB 1594. Limited recycling and disposal reporting systems data showed at least a 500,000 ton decline in the use of green waste for alternative daily cover. Also of note, CalRecycle awarded over $90 million in grants and loans to 1,099 local entities to expand recycling, reduce waste and climate emissions, and fight trash pollution in our communities. As Linda mentioned, CalRecycle expects to release the full report in the coming weeks. The department will continue to monitor the state's progress in meeting its waste and recycling targets through a robust mix of research and reporting. This information will help California innovate a more circular system and course correct as needed to protect the state's resources, its climate, and the health of its communities. Also, as Director Wagner stated, in just 11 days, new statewide food and yard waste recycling requirements will help jumpstart California's transition to a circular economy. CalRecycle has seen progress with new organic waste recycling infrastructure projects and local planning and implementation efforts all throughout the state. We estimate that about half of jurisdictions will have collection programs in place by January, with dozens more coming online over the next year. Those not eligible for waivers or exemptions have a new compliance pathway through SB 619. Local governments can submit their notice of intent to comply to CalRecycle by March 1st, 2022. Upon approval, this allows jurisdictions additional time to comply without facing penalties in 2022 if the jurisdiction implements the compliance actions proposed in the notification. CalRecycle will host another webinar on Thursday, January 13th to address any questions about the 619 process. We have additional information and resources posted online as a result of our last webinar. You can see the link posted here on our PowerPoint slide. As a reminder, the $270 million circular economy package passed in the latest budget includes $60 million to help jurisdictions comply with 1383 requirements. We anticipate the applications for the SB 1383 local assistance grant will be released in January of 22 and due in February. Awards will be announced in April for jurisdictions that adopt a 1383 enforcement ordinance or other compliant enforcement mechanism by April 1st. For applicants who adopt an ordinance after April 1st, awards will be delayed to the next fiscal year. As a reminder, we're continually updating and adding information and resources to our short-lived climate pollutant website. To ensure you're notified of the latest updates, please sign up for the SLCP listserv. And please continue to reach out to us at CalRecycle for any technical assistance regarding SB 1383. We're available for meetings and presentations and other technical assistance that you might need.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Zoe. We now turn to our monthly report on the cleanup of debris from the 2021 climate-fueled wildfires. With debris clear on about half of properties enrolled in the state program, CalRecycle checked in with 2 Placer County wildfire survivors. Take a look at how recovery is going in their community and across the state.
Liz Porter and her family lived in their home for just a year before the river fire tore through her Placer County community of Colfax.
We bought this property because it felt like home from the moment that we set foot onto it.
Determined to rebuild, Liz enters 2022 with a new sense of hope after seeing how quickly state-managed crews cleared the burn remnants of her home. In 2021, the river fire was one of many large-scale wildfires that burned through more than a dozen California communities, destroying 1,600 homes and nearly 3 million acres to date. Doug Thorley is among the more than 1,500 wildfire survivors who signed up to have state-managed crews clear their property at no out-of-pocket cost.
I've been here for 25, and our daughters grew up here.
Drawing on the experience of more than 20,000 wildfire cleanups since 2007, state-managed crews in coordination with local, state, and federal partners began 2021 recovery efforts 2 months after the fires, more quickly and efficiently than ever before.
You know, easier than I expected, really. There was this decision-making process about do we hire somebody privately and pay more, or do we wait for FEMA in California?
As of this month, half of properties enrolled in the government-funded program are already clear of burned metal, concrete, ash, and debris.
This has been really good, and I actually didn't really think that it would happen much before Thanksgiving, and so we're definitely ahead of that curve.
Everybody that I've talked to has been great and really helpful.
With bulk debris removal set to wrap up in the coming months, state-managed crews will complete final steps to support wildfire survivors to rebuild their lives, their homes, and their communities.
And we are looking forward to following the progress as these 2 families rebuild their homes. Now, Deputy Director Tina Walker has more details on debris removal efforts. Tina.
Thank you, Linda. Initially, the 2021 disaster debris removal operation covered 10 counties impacted by this year's fire siege. This month, an additional 6 counties and a dedicated debris removal contractor has been added to the state program. The northern division of this operation is dedicated to removing structural debris and hazard trees from parcels impacted by the Dixie Fire, the largest single fire in state history to date. As of today, 31% of all properties in Northern Division enrolled into the state program have been cleared of that structural debris and hazard trees. In the Central Division, which includes parcels impacted by the Caldor fire, is 2/3 complete of structural debris and hazard tree removal. Crews on this operation are scheduled to continue work between Christmas and New Year's. The North Branch operation of our 2020 statewide operation is nearing completion. Although structural debris removal is complete, tree felling and removal continues in Butte and Trinity counties, with only 18% of those hazard trees remaining to be felled and removed.
Thanks so much, Tina. Appreciate that update. Through grants, loans, and other financial and technical support, California is working to make sure that materials sold in the state can be recycled and remanufactured here too. Deputy Director Matt Hennigan joins us now with some new grant awards and new opportunities for local businesses, governments, and nonprofits. Good morning, Matt.
Thank you so much, Linda. First on the agenda is our used oil payment program. California recycles 98 million gallons of used oil every year with the help of local collection and recycling programs. Today, we're announcing $6 million in funding to 189 local governments as part of CalRecycle's used oil payment program. This program has been in operation since 1991. The program helps local governments develop and maintain used oil and oil filter collection programs and recycling programs. And you may see this in your community in the form of used oil drop-off locations, used oil filter exchange events where you can get a free new filter in exchange for your old one, and curbside collection programs. In 2020, certified collection centers collected 17.8 million gallons of used oil. And thanks to programs like these, California has kept more than 2 billion gallons of used oil out of our environment since 1994. Moving on to the next grant awards, 25 California communities will receive more than $3.5 million to repair local roads using some of the roughly 51 million waste tires managed in the state each year. The road repair and resurfacing projects will use the equivalent of 788,000 waste tires to make rubberized asphalt concrete or rubberized chip seal. Beyond the environmental benefits of finding a beneficial use for those tires, turning the recycled tires into rubberized pavement makes a better performing and longer lasting road surface for all of us to drive on, and reduces costs for local governments since the material can be applied about half as thick as conventional asphalt and lasts up to 50% longer. CalRecycle has kept over 12.2 million waste tires out of our landfills thanks to this grant program, which is funded through a $1.75 fee on the purchase of new tires. And if your community is not currently using rubberized asphalt products, please get in touch, have your public works department get in touch with CalRecycle to find out more about these grant opportunities. Thank you. That's a fun one. Okay, now we're announcing some changes to our recycling market development zone loan program in order to support the creation of and expansion of California businesses that are recycling and remanufacturing. These changes were made in response to a new $50 million appropriation to the RMDZ fund and the passage of a new law, SB 155. And we're aiming to streamline loan requirements and prioritize circular recycling projects. Some of the changes that I'll note are an expansion of where eligible projects can be located when receiving a loan, ensuring that the lowest possible interest rate is approved for these projects, an increase in the maximum project loan amount and also the loan term to match the equipment and project. And also borrowers will no longer be required to fund 25% of the project's overall cost with matching funds. There are other changes that I encourage you to read about, linked to in today's public meeting agenda. And the idea here is to comply with the laws that were recently passed, but also to expedite our projects that strengthen California's move to a more circular recycling economy while at the same time safeguarding the fund and preventing, bad loans. So safety and more projects. That's the idea. So now I just want to review some of the open grant cycles that are available. Cities and counties have until January 18th to apply for payments to improve local beverage container recycling and litter abatement programs through the City County Payment Program. Jurisdictions that need help clearing illegal disposal sites or addressing problems at legacy landfills should look up our solid waste cleanup program. We have funds available for those, and applications are due February 1st of 2022. Applications for the next farm and ranch solid waste cleanup and abatement grant program are being accepted through February 10th. And applications from our RMDZ zones for their zone incentive funds must be submitted by March 1st of 2022. Keeping up with the tire theme, we're also announcing a new contract for technical assistance. So we're announcing approval of a scope of work for the rubberized asphalt concrete engineering and technical assistance contract. So in addition to providing technical expertise to CalRecycle, Caltrans, and local governments that use rubberized asphalt concrete in road projects, this contractor would also conduct technical outreach and give presentations to those interested in using this material for road repairs, and also provide technical guidance and support to CalRecycle grantees, right? So we grant the funds, but we also come in with technical engineering support to make sure these projects are successful. In the past decade, this type of contract helped CalRecycle support over 220 government entities with rubberized asphalt concrete specifications and best practices. The contracts also produced studies and templates to expand waste tire diversion through increased use of this road surfacing technique. So finding new applications and best practices to get more tires used in rubberized asphalt. That is all for grants and loans. So back to you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Matt. Turning now to California's Beverage Container Recycling Program. Deputy Director Amy Cameron is here now with some important announcements and some new opportunities for program participants. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Thank you, Linda. Last week, CalRecycle published notices for the 2022 processing fee and processing payment rates for the upcoming calendar year. An emergency regulation was approved to amend California Code of Regulations Section 2975 that changes how the reasonable financial return is calculated for calendar year 2022. This change will provide stability to the processing payment calculation by ensuring that the reasonable financial return stays at a constant 10%. And the latest Budget Act, SB 170 of 2021, authorized $10 million for quality incentive payments to curbside programs and certified drop-off collection programs to increase clean loads of PET containers. Starting July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, CalRecycle may make quality incentive payments for PET beverage container loads that contain a maximum of 2% of PET thermoform containers and other contaminants as determined by CalRecycle. CalRecycle may pay up to $180 per ton for a quality incentive payment. These payments will be made every 6 months. Claims for July 1st through December of 2021 are due to CalRecycle on February 10th. Claims for January to June of 2022 will be due on August 10th. Interested program participants must submit an application for CalRecycle to review and approve. Only certified participants with approved methodologies are eligible. Application items include source of eligible material purchased, name and location where sorting and processing takes place, a description of the sampling procedures, recent PET bale samples and material characterization data, and the name and contact of the buyers of these PET bales. CalRecycle will conduct on-site bale studies at facilities prior to application approval. For the July to December claim period, a certified participant must submit a CalRecycle 757P for each calendar month in which the QIP is being claimed. The applicant must total the redemption weights from the shipping reports for all the PET loads and use the total redemption weights for the 757 for each of the months being claimed. For the January to June of 2022 period, the shipping report shall serve as the claim for QIP. For more information, this information will be published on our website, and please contact our statistical information section with the phone number or the email address listed on this slide. Finally, any recycling center operator interested in redemption by appointment, please contact the Division of Recycling Certification Unit to learn more about your options. The more flexible operations are available through January 1st, 2023 as part of AB 1311. Governor Newsom signed the new law to help expand redemption access in the state. The best way to reach our certification unit is by calling 916-324-8598. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Back to you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Amy. Whether it's beverage containers, food waste, packaging, or products, developing policies and programs to cut waste and boost reuse and recycling requires a lot of research to get it right. Policy Director Zoe Heller is back now with how CalRecycle gathers key information on waste and recycling. Zoe?
So earlier I talked about the State of Disposal and Recycling Report, which relies heavily on data reported to CalRecycle by jurisdictions and other facilities. Another major tool we use is our waste characterization study. Take a look at this short video to see how examining what's in our trash can help us make less of it.
Truck by truck, California landfill scales show the magnitude of the problem.
We dispose 40 million tons of waste a year.
But to solve California's trash crisis, we have to know what's in the trash.
We need to understand what materials are in the waste stream so that we can then look at how do we target these materials.
Waste characterization studies pick apart what we throw away. It's how we know food, yard, and other planet-warming organic waste makes up over half of our trash.
The only way that we can actually tell is by having sorting crews take apart the samples and tell us how much organics is left.
Waste characterization is how we know packaging makes up about a quarter of what we throw away.
Understanding what the composition of plastics and packaging in landfills right now help us figure out what material types and packaging are particularly problematic.
And waste characterization helps us see trends like how the pandemic changed our trash.
Personal protective equipment, that is now a new material type that we have incorporated into the study.
People are interested in doing more shopping from home, and you kind of see that in an increase in cardboard.
To do the study, CalRecycle hires skilled specialists to separate waste.
Once our vehicle surveyor, a lot, gets a sample, a load selected, they come over, they dump it over here.
From there, we pull out our 200 pounds, process it, weigh it, take our photos.
The garbage is then sorted,
88 categories.
categorized, and recorded.
And got it. We record the weight on a digital tablet with the data management platform that we've got.
Of the various reports on what Californians throw away, waste characterization is the only one to get detailed about what is in our garbage.
Right now, CalRecycle is conducting its 6th statewide characterization study.
There's a big focus in this study on packaging and food waste.
The 2021 study takes a deep dive into trash at 30 facilities in 19 counties throughout the state.
Making sure everybody's trash is represented in a study of this scale.
California uses the data to set benchmarks for progress, then measures the outcomes of policy and laws.
1383, I think, is probably the biggest current example.
In the statewide organic waste law, the legislature set a target for California to cut organic waste 75% by 2025.
Waste characterization data from 2014 was used to establish the baseline. How much are we reducing by 75%? In 2018, we had new numbers. We went from about 67% organics to about 56% organics, which is a pretty big shift. And we can look at potential reasons why that may have occurred. And one is mandatory commercial organics recycling was impactful.
As California moves to disrupt the endless stream of single-use trash polluting our neighborhoods and warming our planet, waste characterization studies are an important tool to identify the problems and measure change.
We want policy that is based on sound science and good information. The circular economy is all about making sure the material that you bring into the system can be sustained perpetually. So you minimize raw material that you bring in, you maximize reuse and recycling.
Minimizing waste to maximize our economy and move California closer to a zero-waste future with less trash pollution and more green jobs.
We will have data to share with you from the 2021 waste characterization study next year, and we look forward to presenting it in an upcoming public meeting. Okay, so switching gears, the next two items represent the very first stewardship plans for the new statewide pharmaceutical and SHARPS program. Governor Brown signed Senate Bill 212 in 2018, enacting the statewide Pharmaceutical and SHARPS Waste Stewardship Act and establishing the very first statewide stewardship program for both covered drugs and home-generated SHARPS waste in the country. CalRecycle was required to establish regulations for these programs that became effective on January 7th, 2021. Similar to other stewardship programs that CalRecycle oversees for mattress, carpet, and paint, CalRecycle is required to review and approve stewardship plans, annual budgets, and annual reports from manufacturers or stewardship organizations and provide oversight of the enforcement of the law. Because of the pre-existing and complex regulatory framework for these products, stewardship plans must first be submitted to the California State Board of Pharmacy and any other state agency with areas of authority relative to the stewardship plan. By January 7th, 2022, covered drugs and SHARPS sold or offered for sale in or into California must be covered by an approved stewardship plan. A manufacturer can either develop and submit a stewardship plan individually or join a nonprofit stewardship organization that acts on behalf of the group of manufacturers. A manufacturer or stewardship organization must design and operate a statewide stewardship program for the collection and proper disposal of covered drugs or home-generated SHARPS waste at no cost to consumers. Stewardship programs for covered drugs must establish collection receptacles for consumers to take their unwanted medication, with an option for mailing back unwanted medications in some circumstances. Stewardship programs for home-generated SHARPS waste allow consumers to mail used or unwanted SHARPS waste in a secure SHARPS mailback container. MedProject is a stewardship organization that represents over 300 covered entities in its drugs plan and over 40 covered entities under its SHARPS plan. MedProject submitted its plans to CalRecycle on September 14th. CalRecycle found both plans to be complete on October 11th. CalRecycle was required to approve, conditionally approve, or disapprove the plans by December 13th. Our staff reviewed the plans to determine whether all statutory and regulatory requirements were met and found that both of MedProject's proposed stewardship plans were substantially compliant with the statutory requirements. However, several components of both MedProject's plans require additional information and actions by MedProject for CalRecycle to determine the plans fully compliant. Therefore, MedProject stewardship plans were conditionally approved by the director on December 9th, 2021. Approval of the plans is contingent upon MedProject providing by January 10th, 2022, a letter committing to revise and resubmit its plans to meet the conditions specified in the respective requests for approval documents, and MedProject revising and resubmitting its plans to meet the conditions in the request for approval by March 9th, 2022. CalRecycle's conditional approval of these stewardship plans means that MedProject may begin implementation of covered drug and home-generated sharps waste programs. MedProject must fully implement both plans by September 5th, 2022, which is 270 days from plan approval per statute. We'd like to thank those stakeholders who provided comments during the public comment period that we held in September. Comments were received from industry, retailers, local governments, and the environmental NGO community, the majority of which supported approval of the plans and aligned with the department's finding. It's important to the department that the public has an opportunity to provide comments on these important new programs, and all of the comments received were carefully considered during the department's evaluation. I also want to mention that review is currently underway for 3 additional stewardship plans submitted to CalRecycle. Ultimed, an independent sharps manufacturer, submitted a sharp stewardship plan to the department on October 11th. CalRecycle found Ultimed's plan complete on November 10th and has a deadline of January 10th, 22 to approve, conditionally approve, or disapprove the plan. The Drug Take Back Solutions Foundation is a stewardship organization that submitted separate plans for covered drugs and sharps on November 19th. CalRecycle found the foundation's plan complete on December 20th and has a deadline of February 17th, 22 to approve, conditionally approve, or disapprove the plans. Note that CalRecycle's approval deadlines are anticipated, as those dates may be extended pending the need to consult other state agencies. Please subscribe to our pharmaceutical and sharps listserv to receive updates.
Okay, and it looks like we're bringing Matt back. So Matt, if you can pop on, great.
Yeah, thank you, Linda and Zoe. So our next item here is a discussion of California's Carpet Stewardship Program, which is operated by Carpet America Recovery Effort known as CARE. To support increased carpet recycling, CARE was required to establish a system of differential assessments that take into account the financial burden that certain carpet materials have on the program and the amount of post-consumer recycled content in those products. So you can think of these as different recycling fees for different carpet types based on what it costs to get them recycled. If a certain carpet material requires a higher subsidy to incentivize recycling, then it makes sense that that material should have a proportionally higher consumer fee assigned to it. To address this statutory requirement, CARE proposed a system of differential assessments based on whether the carpet is broadloom carpet, as in rolled out, or tile, or carpet tiles, and also whether it contains greater than 10% post-consumer recycled content. On August 27th of this year, the director conditionally approved CARE's proposed system of differential assessments as an amendment to its 2018 through 2022 plan, contingent upon CARE making specified revisions within 60 days. CARE submitted this revised plan amendment on October 26th. Now, upon analysis, staff determined that CARE did not adequately address the conditions for approval. In addition, statements in the revised plan failed to demonstrate CARE will adhere to the requirements. The proposed action presented here for the director's consideration is that CARE be required to resubmit its differential assessment plan amendment within 60 days to address the issues specified in the RFA that you can find linked to in the agenda. The director may refer CARE for potential enforcement, or if CARE is able to resolve the issues within 60 days, the department may choose to exercise its discretion and not pursue enforcement at this time. CARE is still required to implement its system of differential assessments on or before April 1st of 2022. So thank you to all the stakeholders and to the folks at CARE and to the network of carpet recyclers for your help on this tricky issue. I'm sure we'll get it across the finish line. Next on the agenda is an update on SB 1335. I am pleased to announce that the Office of Administrative Law has approved the new rules requiring reusable, recyclable, or compostable packaging for prepared food sold at regulated state food service facilities. The legislature passed SB 1335, the Sustainable Packaging for the State of California Act, back in 2018. Following an extensive informal and formal rulemaking process, regulations were approved on December 6th. Food service packaging manufacturers who want to add an item or a group of items to CalRecycle's initial list of approved food service packaging must submit an application to CalRecycle by Friday, January 14th, 2022. CalRecycle must publish that initial list of approved food service packaging by March 6th of 2022. Though we will continue to accept applications and add approved items on an ongoing basis. To streamline the application process for manufacturers, CalRecycle staff identified food service packaging materials that are known already to meet a subset of the recyclable or compostable criteria, which is referred to as the materials list. A request for approval for the materials list was submitted to our director and was approved on December 6th. You can find the materials list on CalRecycle's new Sustainable Packaging Reporting System webpage. For program updates and notifications, please sign up for the SB 1335 listserv. And again, my team and I would like to thank all of the stakeholders who are engaged in both the formal and informal rulemaking process. We look forward to continuing to work collaboratively to roll out this new program. So congratulations to everyone for getting that across the finish line. We also want to discuss our e-waste program. Staff in the Covered Electronic Waste Recycling Program seek approval to adopt proposed regulations to allow separate recycling payment rates for cathode ray tube and non-CRT, cathode ray tube, covered electronic waste. These regulations finalize the emergency regulations approved by the Office of Administrative Law in May of 2018, readopted in May of 2022, and set to expire in May of readopted in May of 2020, and set to expire in May of 2022. CalRecycle initiated a 45-day comment period in September, and in October we held a public comment and a public hearing and received no public comments. This is an issue that's been thoroughly discussed in the past. The regulations split the single covered electronic waste recycling payment rate paid to recyclers into two separate rates. One rate for cathode ray tube electronic waste, which are declining in volume, and another different rate for non-CRT electronic waste like flat screen televisions and laptops, which are on track to become the majority by volume of CEW collected and recycled in this program. We need separate rates because non-cathode ray tube devices are lighter, contain lower value materials, and they're harder to dismantle. So the recycling so the processing costs are higher. Currently, the standard combined rate is 66 cents per ton for CRT, CEW, and 87 cents per pound of non-CRT CEW. Right, so you can see that that difference is intended to make up for the difficulty and the lighter weight recycling those non-CRT e-wastes. Staff recommends adopting the proposed regulations. CalRecycle will then submit the regulatory package to the Office of Administrative Law for approval and for publishing. Sticking with e-waste for a moment, payment rates in the Covered Electronic Waste Program aim to cover the average net cost of collecting and recycling covered electronic waste discarded by Californians. The Electronic Waste Recycling Act requires CalRecycle to establish those payment rates and gives us the authority to review and adjust those rates every other year. With the last rate changes happening in 2020, CalRecycle must reassess rates in 2022, and we do that using net cost reports that document revenues and costs of operation from approved recyclers. A determination at a public meeting is required to trigger these net cost reporting requirements, and that is what you are observing today. So today we are announcing CalRecycle's determination that net cost reports are required from approved collectors and approved recyclers in the Covered Electronic Waste Recycling Program, covering their operations during the year of 2021. Approved recyclers must report separately the cost associated with recycling CRT and non-CRT covered electronic waste. And the reports are due to CalRecycle on or before March 1st, 2022. This item is delegated to me and I have already approved it. So get to work on those reports. Moving on to state agency programs, I've always felt that state agencies need to walk the walk and set a good example. And CalRecycle works very hard to make sure that that state agencies and large state facilities are doing exactly that. Every other year, our team reviews state agency compliance with requirements related to 50% landfill diversion, mandatory commercial recycling, mandatory organics recycling, as well as other requirements for state agencies to provide adequate containers, signage, education, and staffing to help meet waste and recycling targets. During this year's review cycle, CalRecycle found that all but 3 state agencies were fully implementing their waste diversion programs. This is a very good sign that we're ready for SB 1383, organic waste recycling and food recovery requirements that take effect in 2022. I want to share a few examples of some of the great practices that we've found. The Department of Consumer Affairs has a vermicomposter bin at headquarters. Since May, the agency reports composting hundreds of pounds of food waste to reduce disposal and eliminate climate emissions, also providing a fantastic source of free worms to any fishermen who have access to the bin. CalSTRS started a organics recycling program back in 2009, which features green bins for organic recycling, compostable food service packaging in their cafeteria, and as well as employee and visitor education through signage and training of new employees when they're onboarded into the organization. Now, those are some great examples of what we like to see. There are 3 agencies with gaps in their mandatory commercial organic recycling programs. That was the Coalinga State Hospital, the CSU Chancellor's Office, and Caltrans District 7. But all 3 of those agencies responded with plans that will address those gaps, and CalRecycle is going to continue to monitor their progress. We also note that 5 state agencies failed to meet their state agency Buy Recycled campaign recycled content purchasing requirements. So this is the California Correctional Institution, California State Prison in Los Angeles County, also the CSU Chancellor's Office, California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison in Corcoran, California, and the Kern Valley State Prison. Many other CDCR facilities are doing fantastic, so I don't mean to paint a picture that the correction system is not in compliance. There are many others who are. CalRecycle coordinated with the Department of General Services to help address these shortcomings in Buy Recycled compliance, and this item is delegated to me, and I do plan to sign that request. Our next item, so similar to how we evaluate state agencies to make sure that they're following the rules, we also do a huge amount of work evaluating the programs of local governments. This item is focused on commercial recycling programs in unincorporated Butte County and also in the city of Oceanside. CalRecycle conducts on-site and virtual site visits. We review annual reports, we check hauler data, and we review outreach material to make sure that jurisdictions are adequately implementing their required recycling programs. These programs include mandatory commercial recycling, also known as AB 341, and mandatory commercial organics recycling, also known as AB 1826. CalRecycle has the authority to conduct these at any time reviews to make sure that cities and counties are in compliance with these programs. During staff's annual review of each jurisdiction, CalRecycle found that unincorporated Butte County and also the city of Oceanside were implementing their programs. However, there is still a high level of non-compliance among regulated businesses. And if you go to the RFA linked in the agenda, you can find a summary of how each jurisdiction plans to address these gaps. Some of the solutions include adoption of an enforcement ordinance, right, or requiring that these recycled materials be picked up from regulated businesses, providing updated education and outreach material at on-site visits to non-compliant covered generators, and providing mandatory collection service for all covered businesses. Staff will monitor the progress of these two jurisdictions for the next 6 months. And if they do not make adequate progress on implementing the plans that they submitted to CalRecycle, and the program gaps persist, then they will be referred to the jurisdiction compliance unit for further investigation. And I want to thank those two jurisdictions for submitting plans that we believe will get them into compliance very soon. So thank you to staff and to the jurisdictions. Our next item, a few more items of note. CalRecycle is required to review and approve or disapprove each county-wide or regional agency integrated waste management plan, their 5-year report. Humboldt and Stanislaus counties have submitted a 5-year review report that concludes that no revisions to their planning documents are necessary at this time, and our staff has concurred with that assessment. You can find more detailed information on all of today's agenda items by visiting the CalRecycle homepage, selecting public meetings, and clicking on today's date to download the meeting agenda. And on that meeting agenda will be links to all of the RFAs and associated documents to really dig into it. Back to you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Matt. You and Zoe both had a lot of material to get through today, so we appreciate you both for your thorough presentations. As a reminder, if you'd like to submit a question or a comment on an agenda item, please do so through the public comments portal. You can see the instructions here on your screen. From the CalRecycle homepage, select public meeting. In the text, click on public meeting portal, and then in the drop-down menu, select monthly public meeting. And that's where you can put your comments and questions. Please keep your submission brief and make sure to indicate which agenda item you are addressing so that we can direct them to the correct person during the public comment period coming up just a little bit later. Moving on now to our pending solid waste and tire facilities permits. Check out this quick video to see how California facility standards help keep our communities safe.
Protecting the health of Californians and their land, food, water, and air is a big job. Local, state, and federal agencies play different roles to enforce public health and environmental safety standards. In California, solid waste local enforcement agencies process applications, issue, and enforce permits for solid waste facilities. These include landfills, transfer stations, compost facilities, or similar operations. CalRecycle must verify permits are consistent with state requirements. Permits can only address areas within the authority of local enforcement agencies and CalRecycle. Check out the link below for more detailed information. Emergency waivers allow temporary changes to solid waste permit requirements in response to local or state disasters. Local enforcement agencies may approve the waivers, which are good for up to 120 days and may be extended. CalRecycle must review approved waivers and can condition, limit, suspend, or terminate them. Check out the link for more detailed information. For waste tire facilities, CalRecycle processes applications, issues, and enforces waste tire permits. These include requirements to make sure tires are stored and processed in a way that reduces potential threats from fire and disease-carrying vectors like mosquitoes. Check out the link for more detailed information.
Let's see, Paulina, are you able to join us here?
Yes, thank you, Linda. I'd like to go over first those solid waste facility permits that the department has concurred on. The department has concurred on November 19th, 2021, a revised solid waste facilities permit for Universal Waste Systems, Inc., material recovery facility and transportation. This facility is located in Los Angeles County. Also on November 30th, the department concurred on a revised solid waste facilities permit for El Nido Central Valley Composting Facility located in Merced County. Action was needed November 30th of 2021. On December 10th, the department concurred on a revised solid waste facilities permit for East Lake Sanitary Landfill. This facility is located in Lake County. Action was needed December 11th, 2021. Also on December 10th, 2021, the department concurred on a revised solid waste facilities permit for Ecology Hay Road. which is located in Solano County. And this permit action was needed December 12th, 2021. Additionally, on December 20th, 2021, the department concurred on a revised solid waste facilities permit for Johnson Canyon Sanitary Landfill. This facility is located in Monterey County. Action was needed by December 27th of 2021. Also on December 20th, 2021, the department concurred on a revised solid waste facilities permit for Lost Hills Environmental Waste Facility. This facility is located in Kern County. The action was needed February 12th, 2022. New to the agenda for this month is Devlin Road Transfer Station, located at 889 Devlin Road in American Canyon in Napa County. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by January 16th, 2022. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes: an increase to the permitted area from 35.29 acres to 50.78 acres, a construction of a new building to house the existing outdoor construction and demolition processing operation, and then updates to the reported facility information. Also on the agenda is Lamb Canyon Sanitary Landfill, located at 16411 State Highway 79 in Riverside, California. This is a modified solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by January 15th, 2022. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the proposed changes. Update to design capacity from 38,935,653 cubic yards to 39,681,513 cubic yards. Also, there'll be an update to the estimated closure year from 2029 to 2032, and updates to the joint technical document. Also on the agenda is direct disposal, material recovery facility, and transfer station. This facility is located at 3720 Noack Street in Los Angeles. It's in the city of Los Angeles. This is a new solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by February 5th, 2020. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed design parameters. The proposed facility will be a large volume transfer processing facility that will receive municipal solid waste and construction and demolition and inert debris. The hours of operations will be from 24 hours a day to 7 days a week. The permitted area will be 1.24 acres. The permitted maximum tonnage will be 500 tons per day, and the design capacity will be 500 tons per day. There was no additional or new emergency waivers submitted to the department since last November's meeting, so that's all I have. Back to you, Linda.
Thanks so much, Paulina. And sorry, folks, for interrupting the video there. The computer screen froze on my end, so my apologies to you all. And thank you so much, Paulina. Before we open up to the public comments, we'd like to remind everyone that you can find more information on each of the agenda items that we discussed today by visiting the CalRecycle homepage. So again, you can select public meetings, you can click on today's date, and there, that's where you can find download the meeting agenda and the associated public notices. And now let's send it over to Zoe Heller and Maria West to address the public comments this morning.
Thank you so much, Linda. I'm Maria West, I'm the communication. You want to start?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, Maria, your audio went out for a second for me. Sure, so we have a number of comments today. So Maria and I are going to do our best to get through them, but please bear with us as we read through them. So the first comment that we received is from Adam Lotspike with BD, and I'll go ahead and read his comment. And this comment is specific to Section G, Item 4. Is one of the largest medical technology companies in the world, BD, parentheses, Becton, Dickinson and Company, is advancing the world of health by improving medical discovery, diagnostics, and the delivery of care. Is a company dedicated to diabetes care management We are committed to improving health outcomes and enhancing safety for our patients and healthcare workers. We support CalRecycle providing conditional approval for the MedProject Sharp Stewardship Plan, and we understand that MedProject's Sharp's plan met or exceeded the requirements for a program operator plan proposal. We appreciate the ability to continue working with a provider with extensive on-the-ground expertise. We anticipate that MedProject will promptly clarify and address CalRecycle's conditions and encourage CalRecycle to allow flexibility in early operations of the program to be able to respond to consumer and retailer needs and their willingness to participate. We look forward to a successful program implementation in California that provides convenient and safe disposal of household sharps for ultimate users without disrupting the distribution of life-saving and quality of life related health products. Okay, thank you so much for your comment, Adam, in your efforts to ensure Californians have convenient options to safely dispose of household sharps. Maria, there's another comment related to the Farmer Sharps program. Do you want to read that one next?
Okay.
That one's from NSAC.
Oh, yes. So this is from Heidi Sanborn, Stewardship Action Council. And the comment is, as the sponsor of AB 729 in 2019, we were very proud to establish the first differential assessment in the United States based on environmental impacts of a product. We have been once again disappointed that CARE continues to try to do the absolute minimum that is allowed instead of doing what is best to increase carpet recycling. We strongly support staff's recommendation to disapprove the CARE plan amendment as it does not meet the legal requirements for approval. And I now realize that was about CARE, so maybe NSAC had another comment. We have so many today. So thank you for your comment, Heidi.
Matt, did you want to provide any further comments on Heidi's comment?
Well, you know, we appreciate the whole community, all the stakeholders, you know, reviewing these and bringing their best to the discussion. And so thank you, Heidi, for, you know, I think working collaboratively, we can get to a place where this differential assessment is implementable and achieves the desired outcomes. And the stakeholder community, as well as CARE and the industry, are all, you know, key parts of that. Keep those comments coming.
Thank you, Matt. And I can go ahead and read the other Farmer Sharps comment here.
Thanks.
All right, so Heidi Sanborn and our lobbying team were the lead negotiators with industry to pass SB 212. We're happy to be at the point of reviewing plans and getting closer to program implementation. However, we agree with the director that this plan is not approvable at this time, and we support the recommendation of conditional approval. The following are some key reasons why the plan should not be approved at this time. One, the cash and reserves should not be an unreasonable amount of money and should be 3 months of operating costs. There's a history of these programs having large reserves while the program is not operating optimally, such as carpet and mattress. 75% reserve is outrageous to propose and it is concerning. Number two, CalRecycle's administrative costs should be fully funded and that amount should be transparent and detailed in the budget. Three, the proposed disclaimer language on the public education materials, quote, this material has been supplied for the purpose of compliance with the law and does not necessarily reflect the views of MedProject or the companies participating in the MedProject Stewardship Plan, end of quotes, is very concerning. The requirement in the law that MedProject be a 501c3 was for a reason, that they operate for the public benefit. If they are proposing to tell the public that they don't agree with their own public education materials, then in our view, they are not operating for the public benefit and should not be able to use such a disclaimer. Number four, MedProject states it will seek to establish a minimum of 5 authorized collection sites per county or 1 per 50,000 ultimate users, whichever is greater. Their use of the word seek implies that they will try, which is not enough. They are telegraphing that they may not achieve it, which is unacceptable. This is not a good first start for MedProject. End of comment. So thank you for your comment, Jordan and NSAC, and continued engagement on these programs as MedProject addresses the required conditions and resubmits its plan within 90 days. So, all right. So I believe that those are the comments that we have on the Farmer Sharps program. Maria, you had read the comment on the carpet stewardship program, And I do understand that Bob Peoples submitted a public comment that says that CARE has a desire to make a verbal response to this RFA topic due to its complexity. Are we able to accommodate that? Okay, so Bob, we will follow up with you in your request to make a verbal response. All right, our next comment here is from City of Oceanside. Maria, do you want to go ahead and read that one?
Yes. Let's see, this is from Anika Anderson. The City of Oceanside does not agree with CalRecycle's assertion that there are AB 1826 related program deficiencies, including a high level of non-compliance of business and multifamily generators. As the first jurisdiction within San Diego County to provide and roll out a mandatory commercial food scraps recycling program and service in 2020, the city has made great progress in bringing services to the majority of Oceanside businesses throughout a very disruptive and uncertain pandemic. Additionally, each business has been informed of the available program and been given robust educational resources and access to technical assistance. The city's food scraps program has even served as an example statewide on how to provide an AB 1826 and SB 1383 compliant organics program. With education resources featured on the CalRecycle SB 1383 website. Subsequently, the city respectfully requests that CalRecycle reclassify Oceanside's compliance status to compliant, as the city has demonstrated a comprehensive commitment to compliance congruent with the good faith effort provisions of AB 1826.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to appreciate your efforts implementing the organics and food scrap recycling programs in your community. It is true that you all have played a leading role and are pioneers. Our review found that about a third of the businesses that should be recycling organics are not currently receiving that service. And I want to note that I also see that you've committed to taking some very strong steps to reducing that number. You've committed to providing automatic delivery of food scrap service to all remaining covered businesses, organic service to multifamily complexes. You're going to modify a city ordinance to require mandatory organics collection at covered businesses, and you've committed to kind of redouble your information and education outreach efforts to support organics collection. Those actions will enable CalRecycle to determine that the city is compliant. And it seems that as we work together and monitor the implementation over the next 6 months, that if those actions are taken, you'll get into a compliant place. So we have not referred for enforcement. There is no enforcement activity right now, and I think we're going to be able to get to a place where that doesn't happen. So thank you for submitting a comprehensive plan to get get those businesses recycling the way they need to.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so our next group of comments here, we have 3 from Evan Edgar specific to the state of recycling report, and 1 from Evan Edgar on AB 75. So we will go ahead and read those and provide some responses. Okay, so the first question from Evan is specific to wood waste for state of, and the comment reads, PRC 42510-42511 and many statutes on market development has CalRecycle responsible for the urban wood waste part of non-yard waste disposal minimization law. It is the responsibility of CalRecycle to plan for non-yard wood waste, which is critically needed and deserves an analysis. In the state of recycling, does CalRecycle address the dwindling market for wood waste where the urban sector has lost over 85 over 850,000 tons in 6 years in the large-scale bioenergy markets crowded out by the forest sector waste. And with a new 3.9 million tons coming onto the market by 2025 due to SB 1383. So just backing up for a second, since Evan, all of your questions are asking about the state of report and understanding that you haven't seen it yet, just wanted to clarify what it's going to look like this year. So it's going to be very similar to the report that we released in 2019. So the same categories, same level of data that we share, some of which was shared verbally today. So it'll be very consistent to last year's report. So with that said, we appreciate your concerns on addressing urban non-yard wood waste. And as we're working towards establishing a circular economy in California, non-yard wood waste will be an important material stream to address. We look forward to engaging with you and other stakeholders as we work to address these challenging issues. We'll also follow up via email with some additional information and following on some previous conversations we had with you. So thank you for raising this issue. The next question, your next question. Oh, hi, Rachel.
Sorry, trying to figure out all the buttons. Evan, thank you so much for your comments. And Zoe very articulately, as usual, summed up what the state of report is. But I do want to offer, if you want to sit down once the report has come out and have a conversation with myself and staff about some of the policies moving forward, specifically around organics. We all know that 1383 is a complex and comprehensive statute to implement. And as we move forward into 2022, there will be obviously major challenges that we need to work on together. So happy to sit down and chat with you on those points with staff and work through some of those complexities.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, Evan's next comment here is once again on state of recycling specific to COVID recycling tons buried. And the question is, or the comment, was the amount of source separated recyclable tonnages buried during the early stages of the pandemic during 2020 be disclosed in the state of recycling? Reflecting upon the jurisdiction letter sent by CalRecycle in April 2020 on tracking these disposal tonnages, now would be the time to present this tonnage data. So no, this won't be reflected in the state of report. As jurisdictions were informed, materials sent to landfill as a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic do not meet the regulatory definition of disaster debris for the purposes of reporting from the solid waste industry. Instead, jurisdictions were directed to provide any information or data with respect to these materials going to disposal in order to inform an application for a disposal modification and the subsequent review by CalRecycle staff. Submitted disposal modifications may not capture the entire tonnage of source-separated recyclables being sent to landfill as a result of COVID-19, only those that submitted. And since CalRecycle does not require this information from solid waste facilities according to the recycling disposal and reporting system regulations per AB 901, and therefore we're unable to provide comprehensive data for this scenario. But thank you for this question and happy to chat more on this topic as well. Okay, and then the third comment specific to the state of recycling, net zero GHG/AB 32 from Evan, is the waste sector as a whole from collection to end markets was determined to be 3.7 times net zero greenhouse gas in 2018 by the California Compost Coalition. Does the state of recycling report recognize the importance of being net zero greenhouse gas emissions, and was any of this information included in the state of recycling? With the AB 32 scoping plan third update underway by CARB, does the state of recycling recognize the role of waste management and recycling plays in greenhouse gas reductions? The California Green Innovation Index released a report last week surmising that California is not on track meeting the greenhouse gas reduction goals due to the declining recycling rate. So once again, Evan, thanks for this question. Quite a bit in here. I clarified what's in the state of report, but as you know, there's been other publications that we've put out that does address some of these issues. And as mentioned previously, we are working closely with CARB in sharing data specific to the scoping plan update to ensure that the latest and greatest data makes its way into that modeling. And so more specific input on this question is net zero greenhouse gas emissions for the waste sector were analyzed in the 2014 scoping plan update, which stated that meeting the AB 341 75% recycling goal is the best path forward to maximizing greenhouse gas emission reductions from the waste management sector and putting California on a path for even greater greenhouse gas emissions reductions in the future. As we discussed earlier, we're at 42%, so we're not at that 75% yet, but hoping through implementation of 1383 and building a circular economy, we'll start seeing a shift in our recycling rate. And the connection between waste and greenhouse gas emissions has also been highlighted in our 1383 progress analysis from a couple summers back, which highlights the impacts of methane and what needs to be done about it. We state in that report the implementation of the state's organic waste reduction regulations adopted under 1383 is a critical step to protect Californians, our environment, and our economy from the impacts of climate change. And turning it over to Rachel.
Thanks, Zoe, and thanks, Evan, for highlighting such an important issue. Obviously, as we move forward with 1383 implementation and the implementation of all of our stewardship and recycling programs, we need to have an eye on accomplishment of not only our statutory goals, but really getting to a circular and zero waste economy. So I think that it's important for us to highlight, and as we release in the next little bit, the state of recycling and waste report, we are not where we need to be as the state of California. And it is really important for us to continue this conversation with you and the rest of our stakeholders about what really needs to change in order for us to get more firm footing on reaching those recycling goals. But beyond those recycling goals, just a reduction overall of the amount of waste that we are creating. So we are well aware of where we stand today, and now the big challenge in front of us, and I look forward to working with you and everyone else on this, is how do we get to where we need to go? So thank you for highlighting this. The greenhouse gas emissions impact of waste cannot be highlighted enough. If we can really truly start hitting the mark on organics and our other recycling goals, we will have such a massive impact on both methane and carbon emissions. And really, as we've stated over the last 12 months, building the circular economy across the board is the way for us to do that. So really, Evan, thank you for highlighting this. This is such an important piece of this. So many people don't think about the connection between waste and climate change, but really appreciate your efforts and the efforts of all the stakeholders that have joined us today in that recognition and helping us get to that solution to be a part of the climate fight. So thank you so much.
All right, and Evan's last question is on a different agenda item. This is specific to the AB 75 public facilities. And the comment is Caltrans spends $75 million per year on irrigated maintenance along roadsides, yet only spends $300,000 per year on compost, yet they get a 95% compliance rate. Caltrans is mandated to buy compost and does not make a dent with just 1% of the market. How can Caltrans be in compliance with AB 75? And I see Matt's joined us to respond. Hi, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Evan, for that comment. I see what you're saying here. The report out today was specifically about the state agency Buy Recycled campaign, which requires that of the materials purchased, that they source recycled material. And so we're not looking at total volume purchased and whether they should be purchasing more, but whether what they are purchasing is diverted from a landfill. And so as drafted, right, they are in compliance with SABRAC. It might require new legislation to do kind of what you're talking about. But it's a point well taken, and state agencies should be working together and coordinating on achieving our climate goals. Putting more compost on the roadside is certainly one way to do that. So thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks for the response, Matt. All right, we have our next comment is from Manuel Medrano, and I'll turn it over to Maria to read that one.
And Maria, your mic is muted.
Sorry, Manuel Medrano from the California Association of Recycling Market Development Zones says the Association of Recycling Market Development Zones, CRMDZ, believes that changes proposed to the RMDZ program will cause local agencies to decrease their current commitments to market development in exchange for the special status of being designated an RMDZ, local agencies comprising each zone have made many commitments to CalRecycle. Among other actions, RMDZs promote CalRecycle's low-interest loan program, inform their local eligible applicants about CalRecycle grant programs, update CalRecycle local liaisons on market development issues, reach out to businesses with potential to use recycled materials to make products, and update the zone information and reporting system. The most significant element of this special status of RMDZ designation has been exclusive access to low-interest loan funds, but Senate Bill 155 eliminated this exclusive access. CARMDZ acknowledges the imperative legislated changes. However, we seek for CalRecycle to provide the following information and resources to the program. 1, explain the long-term vision for the loan program. What are the goals? 2, increase program funding to $20,000 per zone. 3, facilitate the use of zone incentive funds, allow funding of a wider variety of local market, and provide funding upfront. 4, enhance the Recycle Store program. 5, adjust language in the proposed loan program eligibility criteria document that limits projects that only divert from landfill disposal. 6, adjust language in the loan program eligibility criteria document to indicate that anytime the loan fund declines to $5 million or less, the restriction of loan eligibility to RMDZs will be temporarily reinstated.
Yeah, thank you, Miguel, and thank you to everyone at CARMDZ for putting together these thoughtful comments. I understand your concerns, right? The program as structured really relies heavily on the local zone administrators, and you all are a critical part of our success for all that you talked about, right? Promoting the low interest loans, promoting our grant programs, and providing a source of on-the-ground information for what's needed in your communities in terms of business development. The expansion of eligibility to include areas outside of zones was in legislation. That is something that, in SB 155, as you note. But I think there are opportunities to structure the program and look at our criteria document in ways that improve the program. Several of your suggestions are just solid ideas that we look forward to working with you in the future. Really, we're so pleased to have received this extra funding, and I think that will benefit projects inside and outside of zones, but particularly inside zones, because you all are out there promoting this to your local, to your businesses. So thank you again for putting forward so much thought into this, and we're always interested in collaborating with you to make the program stronger.
Thanks for that response, Matt. Okay, our next public comment is from Jay Golden with AMP Robotics, who just asks, can you please share a link to the agenda for today's meeting? We've emailed that to Jay, and for those that are curious, you can find it on our website on the public notice for every public meeting, and our agenda is always linked to that public notice. And then we have a comment from Veronica Pardo with Resource Recovery Coalition of California, specific to the Quality Incentive Program bales. And Veronica's question is, will the application be, it's when will the application be available? And Amy, are you available to respond?
Thanks, Veronica, for the question. We are finalizing the application and the claim form now, and it should be on our website in January. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And that does it for our public comments. I understand that our team is working to bring Bob Peoples on.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this. We just learned of the RFA on this differential assessment protocol yesterday morning, so we haven't had a lot of time to address this, but Because of the nature of the findings, I'm quite concerned. I issued a memo this morning to the CalRecycle staff specifically addressing item 1, establishing a crystal clear commitment to the April 1st rollout date of the carpet differential assessments. That was our intent all along, and I think it's unfortunate that the words that I used may have created some confusion, but there's never been any plan other than to have this implemented on April 1st. I do want to note, though, that we're committed to that April 1st rollout, despite the fact that CalRecycle did reject the concerns that we raised about both the complexity and the potential confusion of this program in the marketplace and the desire to take a little bit longer to get it rolled out and get it right. But our statement of commitment should resolve any issues with item 1. I also want to speak to the other 2 items quickly. CARE recognizes a change in the carpet differential protocol is a plan amendment, and as such, we would follow the formal review by the advisory committee and submission to CalRecycle. If there's no change to the basic design and protocol and is just an adjustment to the differential amounts driven by economic factors, we would not consider that a change in the plan, but a parameter adjustment, very similar to what we do for a subsidy change or annual discards formula parameter adjustments. In those cases, we submit an email of the planned adjustments, and CalRecycle will usually respond by acknowledging the email and say, we'll get back to you if we have any questions or concerns. So hopefully, that's relatively simple clarification, and I think it's not a basis for a rejection of the RFA response that we made. And finally, item number 3, CARE has always notified CalRecycle of any requests for a change in an agreed to schedule. CARE makes every effort to meet the conditions that are approved, even going as far in item number 3 as including some of the RFA language itself in our response, just to make sure we were trying to be consistent. So I would say that CARE is extraordinarily disappointed with this unwarranted determination of non-compliance. That is the end of my comments. I do look forward to working with the staff to have this resolved in a reasonable and a non-enforcement kind of manner. Thank you very much for fitting me into the schedule.
Bob, thank you so much for coming to the meeting and making those thoughtful comments. I'm really happy to continue the conversation with you. I know staff are working really hard with you and your staff to make sure that the program, as you're running it, meets all of the statutory and regulatory requirements. So I am happy to participate in an ongoing conversation with you always after many years of working together. I appreciate how hard you were working to make CARE truly successful. And as you work through these issues, I am happy to have a discussion with you as well. So with that, Linda, I think that might be it for the day. But since I am here, maybe I will close this out before you shut us down. So I just want to thank everyone for your participation today. This has been a really robust conversation, which is an indication to me of just the commitment of all of our stakeholders to participate in our process and in our programs. And so I just want to finalize our last meeting of the year by saying thank you so much for your ongoing commitment to the state of California and our waste programs. I look forward to working with you in 2022 and wish you all a very happy holiday season and a very bright and happy new year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.